Welcome back to Kin in Line. I make this part 126. As I warned previously, I'm going to venture into a bit of autobiography. The army took up such a large part of my life in the 1980s that I had to share this envelope that I found, which contains a letter. I won't trouble you with showing you it, but it tells me that I am no longer required to do national service or camps or whatever. So Department van Verdediging, and there's my rifleman CK20 and my number. And this is the place that had me on its books, Regiment Pitratif. We got the coat of arms of the old South Africa. So this was sent to me in about 1991. So they'd unbanned the ANC and basically were negotiating a new dispensation. And finally, after I first went, you can see by my number here, 724. That's 1972 is when they first put me on their books. Now, I actually wrote an article about military conscription, and then a former deputy editor of the Evening Post, which, as I said last time, closed in 2000, Graham Etherington, submitted this letter to the Herald for publication and included me in a copy, as you'll see down the bottom there. And it says, I read Bentley's article with sympathy because I experienced similar concerns for my son. For the same reason, I sent him to university for 6 years so he would at least not be sent to the border as a schoolboy. Then he says, my article brought to mind the Herald's outrageous position on enforced army service at the time as deputy editor of the Evening Weekend Post. In 1988, I wrote many of the paper's editorials. On March 2 of that year, I received a copy of an instruction which appears at the top of this letter. There it is. That's taken off our old ATEX system to Mr. Voetberg, that was the editor, and this guy it was forwarded to him, and this was sent to him by the Derek Smith, then editor-in-chief of all Times Media Limited's Port Elizabeth newspapers. I quote, in case you decide at any stage to lead on the Tom's affair, now he was an anti-conscription guy, I would like to confirm that none of our newspapers are to adopt a stance which would in any way be considered sympathetic to conscientious objection or supportive of the end conscription movement. Then there was a reference to smoking. One mustn't run anything that's anti-smoking. And then he concluded by saying, I realize we are courageous newspapers. So was the Rand Daily Mail. And of course, the Rand Daily Mail closed in 1985 or 6. And so Etherington said, of course, the end conscription campaign that many young men like Kin Bentley and parents supported, particularly as they watched night after night as the photographs of young men killed on the border were shown. Actually, I wasn't part of the end conscription campaign. That started after I'd already done my 2 years and probably a camp or two. So I was stuck in this thing. But just that, I know this isn't art, but this is what led me to journalism, the army, and so I had to just share it. So part of being a father meant you had to attend like Herbert Hurd Primary School. And so I had to sit through a lot of little concerts and things, and naturally I just got sketching again. Okay, I can remember this woman at the top there, Bodley. Yeah, Bodley, Mrs. Bodley. She taught Luke tennis. here's some more actual drawings from life. Similarly, here I was at a school music concert and did some more drawings from life. This guy seemed to lose his eyes. Anyway, and this was amongst these things. I've got a lot of other drawings of this guy. This is Mike Utley, who was a sub. I actually met him for the first time on the Daily Dispatch when I did a couple of months as a cub reporter straight out of school in 1975. So Mr. Utley I'd known since 75, and he was subbing on the Herald. I think he also came across from the Post, like Stephen Rolls. For the rest, in this envelope, it's mainly my doodle art, I think. Always interesting to see what the hell. Ken Bentley, what is this document? Yeah, not sure. Anyway, kept for the picture, which is quite fun. And yeah, my sun pictures, I always seem to include a sun. It's being a South African, I guess, in the midday sun. We had a lot of sunlight here. And G. Bentley. Oh yes, there was a teacher at our son's school, no relation, called Mr. Bentley. I think this was at Alexander Road. Nice crop here. Yeah, so part of my daily ritual was picking up the kids. Oh, this was Herbert Hurd. Yeah, picking them up from school, and then I would have to go to work at 3:30 to go subbing. Having made lunch, fed them, got them home, spent the morning on my own projects. This guy looks like he's got a hot cross bun there. Easter's imminent, so maybe I can use that as a marketing thing. And Ken Bentley, please phone Mrs. Thomas in connection with your article on birds. And I've drawn a bird-like face there, a very weird bird. But I did an article after my son Luke got me interested in birding. I started taking him around, and I eventually put together a piece about discovering birds. Okay, so I was probably still a reporter here. Phone Bobo Temba. 082 number. So this is what now would have been a sub here. We used to, if you sent a picture up for scanning, slug is the name. That's the word we use for the name of the picture. Is it slug? I think it dates back to the early days of compositors and printers. Size, date, color, black and white, deep etch. That means you crop it around the figure. And any comments, where to send it in? Yeah, brings back memories. Did that for 22 years. What have we got here? Louisiana. No, this is just an art, facts about an art thing, art market. So I still, even though I was subbing, I was also the the arts writer, a fine art writer. So I wrote previews and did reviews of art exhibitions. It shows how much info you can fit on a little page. Yeah, this was kept for that. Let's see if there's anything of interest here. That's not incriminating. Gavin McLaughlin. So he was a lecturer in architecture at the Port Elizabeth University and brought out a wonderful book with illustrations done by his students of the dream houses of Mole Park. And those were early 20th century mansions, really, in the Art Nouveau style. And some of the nicest buildings still standing. And what have I done here? It's a pity about that white blob there. But here's an interesting drawing with that face. And a real sunstorm. And then to end this little thing, we're going to go on a squiggly route up this gentleman's body. Reminds me a bit of my late father, that handlebar moustache, the glasses and the flat cap. But he wasn't quite as active as this fella. Anyway, I'll leave it for now. Cheers.